Welcome back to Chin Music, our weekly baseball show at TalkNorth.com. We are coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio.
Scott for Aquarius, your authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Yes, water is essential, but what if it came with sparkle and zero hassle? With Connecticut, enjoy softer skin, shiny fixtures, spotless dishes, and worry-free drinking water. It's home services made easy with 36 months, 0% financing during our state fair special. Schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com. Financing based on credit approval. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
Lineup today, as it usually is, former Twins star and announcer Roy Smalley, LaVelle Neal III, baseball guru and columnist at the Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. Best way to listen to this show or any of our many shows at the network, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We do appreciate it. We have Randy Shaver on high school football these days. We have our new fantasy football show with Shaver and Kevin Gorg. Russo on hockey, Krasinski on basketball. 3 different NFL shows, Viking shows. Check them all out. We do appreciate it. Thanks for listening to TalkNorth.com. Let's get to, and also I want to mention our presenting sponsors, Giggly THC Beverages and OnX Maps. All right, gentlemen, I was thinking about it last night. We're talking here on Thursday morning. You're seeing Brooks Lee starting to produce power. You're looking at Keishel looking like just a can't-miss future star who's already playing like a star. You have some, Walker Jenkins just got called up AAA. Kalen Culpepper continues to crush it at AA. And I started thinking, what could this team look like, not on opening day, but maybe by like next August? And I want to go position by position and just kind of play that mind game here. Let's start at catcher. Ryan Jeffers has 1 year left on his contract. I'm sure he's the catcher next year. How about backup catcher? Do they try to get an improved version of a Christian Vasquez type, or is there somebody in the organization who could take that role? LaVelle, why don't you start us off?
Well, that's a good question to start with. I would have to look up the St. Paul Saints roster, look who they got at catcher, because I thought Yard Camargo was going to be the guy, but they let him go during the year.
Yep.
They got a guy down there now who's actually hitting a little bit. But I think the reasons why the Twins traded for a couple of catchers like Tai in the Duran trades, because they needed to improve their catching inventory. So the 2 guys they've landed recently are down in A-ball. So I would imagine that the Twins are going to hit the free agent market and find a catcher they could sign for $4 or $5 million, who's probably a defensive first guy. And as long as they don't get fleeced like they did before, signing Christian Vasquez to a $10 million a year contract, which ended up being an anchor around their necks there. So, it's going to be up to see how much of a workload Jeffers can handle next year. Can he be the number one guy who ends up, catching 100? What's acceptable now? 100 and 120 games? With the backup playing 40, is that the way to go now? There's the days of Salvador Perez and Yadier Molina are gone. So they're going to need a guy who could play about 40, 45 games this season. And I would imagine they'll try to hit free agency to bring one in.
Yeah, I don't know what might be available in this specific category. If they could find somebody that could that was a good defensive catcher and hit left-handed, that would be ideal. Don't know if there's anyone out there like that, but I agree with LaVelle. They've got to get a backup. They've got to get a backup catcher, and ultimately they have to hope that some of these young catchers move along quickly. I think that is pretty clear.
Yeah, Tate is their top catching prospect. They got him in the trade, and he's projected to arrive in the majors sometime around 27, 28. He's not going to be of immediate help. AJ Brzezinski, probably a little too old. Let's see, who else? Who else can you get? How about, could Mickey Gasper be a backup catcher?
I don't see it.
I defer to LaVelle. I don't have any idea, but my gut tells me not for 40 games.
No, I don't see it for Mickey. He just finally hit his first career home run the other day. Actually, I called it the Mickey Gasper game on Twitter because he actually threw someone out trying to steal second in the inning before, and then he tied the game with a home run. I think they're going to want a little bit more I think Gasper's a great, if there's room on a roster for him, I think Gasper's best fit is as an infielder who could also catch occasionally when needed. So he'd be like the third catcher on the roster, which I don't know how many teams have a luxury to afford that. So I would look elsewhere, someone who's got more of a catching acumen than Gasper would, because I think we all know that backup catchers they're not going to hit. They're going to have an OPS probably under 600. But as long as they can catch and throw and handle a pitching staff, and that's what you're going to want. And that's what you usually go for. So that's what I would, that's the way I look at the whole Gasper situation.
By the way, I thought of Roy the other night when Gasper hit the big home run and ran around the bases without going nuts. And it's because he was named after Mickey Mantle, and that's the way Mickey Mantle did it. Harkening back to a day and age where every time somebody hit a bloop single, they didn't dance on first base, Roy.
Well, you don't know how warm that makes my heart to know that when you think about a ball player being professional at his job, that you think of me. That it reminds you to think of me and how I feel about that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that very much.
And by the way, the part of the new celebrate every moment on the field thing that I like is it's these days, at least it's usually team oriented. You're not trying to show up the other team. It's more looking in your dugout and celebrating with your dugout. But my God, they celebrate everything, and they've already run out of celebrations. There are only so many stupid things you can do while you're standing on second base, and they're done. They have no more unless they start bringing, their dugout props to and doing some improv. There's nothing left, Roy.
No, there isn't anything left, and to this day. My favorite home run in the modern era, and actually it was enough long ago, probably I can't even call it modern anymore, but I watched, and this is probably 8 years ago, I watched, when was Chris Bryant first with the Cubs? And so it's probably 10 years ago.
10, 12 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was relatively new, first or second year, and he had a huge home run, and I watched him hit a huge home run in Wrigley Field. It was late in the game. Was going to probably win the game, and he crushed it to left field, and he dropped his bat, and his head down. He just ran around the bases, and and shook hands with third base coach, and came into the dugout, and I love that so much. And they asked him about it afterwards. He goes, and he said, he basically said what I've been paraphrasing for a while. He said, "Well, I just thought that that's kind of my job, and I did what I was supposed to do, and hopefully I'll continue to do that. I mean, that's what I'm supposed to do. It won't be, in other words, it won't be the last one you see, folks. And so anyway, that." It's well documented how I feel about that stuff.
Yeah,
I noticed that the Twins have ditched the Roman warrior helmet after hitting home runs now. So I think that went after the fire sale at the trade deadline. But I know there's a lot of teams that still got props. Toronto's got like a jacket that they have flags from the different countries that are represented on the roster all over it, and the Mariners still have a trident, But I think the Twins have ditched theirs. So, the little dances a second, I don't mind. It's leaked into Major League Baseball a little bit from college, or maybe going the other way now, maybe leaking down into high school now. But as long as they're not showing up a team, I guess it's okay for the game.
I just think it's reached a point of ridiculosity. I mean, it just made up a word.
I like it. I was at my grandson RJ's first tackle football game the other day, and the opposing team, there's a young man made a really nice run for a touchdown, sat down in the end zone and started rowing the boat, and all the kids. Joined him, started rowing the boat, and their coaches absolutely freaked out. They started running the field. No, we don't do that. But you talk about the leak down. Yes, it's
blame
everywhere.
PJ Fleck on that.
Yeah.
I can't blame PJ for that. It's just the way, I will say this. There's a time and a place. And I will always give extra points for cleverness and context. And when Steve Smith scored a touchdown against the Vikings the week that the Love Boat scandal broke, and he sat down in the end zone and rode the boat. That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I was there, and you're not allowed to cheer in the press box, but I cheered for that. That was really good.
My favorite was for two reasons. My favorite was after the Vikings endured sitting on the bus in Green Bay, leaving, and the Green Bay fans dropping trow and mooning the Vikings bus when Randy Moss scored a touchdown in Green Bay and pretended to moon. I thought that was great. Level number one, first level, phenomenal cleverness, hilarity, and all around talent. I mean, it was great. Awesome. Just awesome.
The only problem with it was most of us didn't know what he was trying to do. And
right.
And once we realized that it was in response to that, then it was hilarious. At the moment, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Then
that was a straight cash homie moment too.
Yes.
When he got fined. Straight cash, you go pay it. Straight cash, homie.
Then level two was the sanctimonious Joe Buck just going off on how awful it was. It was like Randy Moss had just burglarized something. I mean, it was just. I mean, it's like that's when I parted ways with Joe. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, testament to the popularity of the NFL. People will watch an NFL game when Joe Buck is announcing.
It's unbelievable.
All right, let's move on to first base. Actually, let's go to third base. Okay, Royce Lewis is the dream. Who's the backup? Roy, who do you think?
Well, it's hard. As I've been thinking about this, it's hard to talk about it position by position when you think about.
Well, let's do this. Let's do infield because we don't know where any of the infielders are going to end up anyway. So let's talk infield in general.
Yeah, that's the problem. And that's the problem. And there's going to be, as we talk about the future, there's great potential for a logjam, right? Where's everybody going to play? So you have Luke Keeschel, Brooks Lee, Royce Lewis, Culpepper's coming, it looks like, and there's four guys and three spots, and so there's going to be some real competition, both obviously offensively, and then what's the best combination of offense and defense? Because you can't ignore. Especially short and second, you can't ignore. What's the combination offense and defense, and can you live defensively with whichever way you go? And so I think this is a tough one. The ideal scenario is that all of them take a step forward. That Royce Lewis becomes Royce Lewis again. I think Keeschel is a lock to be a solid big league player. I just continue to be impressed with him. He's going to play someplace. And I'm thinking it's probably the infield. I'm thinking it's probably second base. So, I mean, there are some complications there. And my answer is I don't have a clue. I just hope everyone plays up to their full potential, and then let's make some decisions.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Maybe the infield, and what if Culpepper, remains on track and gets it to the majors, after maybe the All-Star break or after the trade deadline next year, maybe that is your infield. Maybe you make one of those guys, put them at first base and roll with Culpepper, Lee, and Royce at the other somewhere between short, second, third, first. Because I'm not sold on Edouard Julien as a first baseman. He still makes mistakes out there. And I've seen him last homestand. I saw him out there twice, working hard on covering the bag and covering bunt plays and positioning. He's trying to learn the position, but meanwhile, he's only batting 188 since, he was called up in early August. So, there's the hole there. The biggest hole's at first base. And, depending on what approach the restructured ownership group is going to take in terms of funding this roster, could they go out and buy a first baseman and put there? Because they sure in the hell could use one. If not, then the infield of the near future could be Keeschel, Lee, Royce, and Culpepper.
Yeah, so I've got two comments about that. I think they they need to get a thumper and play first base. They need to have someone play first base,
Agreed.
especially immediately. Even if it's a guy that's only a year or two, because you got young hitters that are hopefully going to mature into good big league hitters. But boy, they could sure use an example in the middle of the lineup. And they need it at first base. That's the one position, especially that I think you need somebody to to kind of lead the way. So I'd love to see them get a first baseman that could hit. And secondly, I'm going to go back to what I said 2 years ago, and then last year, and I'm going to reiterate it. I think Royce Lewis would make a terrific right fielder. And I think that if Culpepper comes along and Brooks Lee comes along and Keishel's there, I don't see any reason why you don't put Royce Lewis in the outfield. With that, the way he throws, they've always had a problem with whether they're right or wrong about that. Throwing from the outfield will not be a problem with his throwing motion. And I discount people saying, yeah, but look what happened when he played, put him in center field, he got hurt. Okay, fine. He had never played there before, and he gets hurt. Guys go to the outfield all the time and learn how to be good outfielders. And most notably in my era, Robin Yount was one of the great moves ever to center field. So I'm still not off of the idea of Royce Lewis being an outfielder.
And let's move to the outfield in a second. I do want to tell you about Giggly THC Beverages, giggly.com, Gigli.com. Use the promo code GigglyNorth to get up to 50% off your first order. After that, if you follow them on social media, you'll find other deals. I think they have a 20% Labor Day weekend deal right now. They also have now chocolates and gummies, all kinds of other stuff. They've added a couple of flavors to their seltzers. I like the cocktails. My wife likes the teas. They are available in Quick Trips all across Minnesota. You can find them in other stores. I order online at giggly.com. It's simple. Stuff tastes good, helps you sleep, helps you wake up with a good attitude, ready to meet the day. No lethargy, no hangover. Highly recommend giggly.com. Also, let Onyx Fish help you find the next best bite. The Fish app offers the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake by lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. Download Onyx Fish on the App Store or go to onyxmaps.com/fish to get more information about the app that is changing the game. All right, we're talking about Royce maybe going to right field. What about the current right fielder? Roy, you've been around a little bit longer than I have. I can't ever remember seeing somebody with 20 homers and 35 RBI at any juncture of any season. What does that even mean?
Yeah, let me back up on Royce Lewis, by the way. I'm not necessarily saying he's right fielder. He could play. I mean, if Wallner were all of a sudden to explode, I mean, Wallner's he's going to be he is and is going to be a good right fielder, and Royce could play left. So I'm just saying Royce in the outfield. Now, Wallner, I think what that means is that the hitting mechanics that I've been concerned about for a while are still the issue, and it's the open stance, big leg kick as you stride into the ball, stride toward the plate to shut down your hips. Not in order to, but that's what it does. And it's a level of inconsistency. And back to Trevor Plouffe's call on Royce Lewis, I think that big leg kick and swinging from open to closed, get your foot down. Trevor was talking about with Royce, as you mentioned, Jim, a couple of weeks ago, that he was having trouble getting his foot down on time, and his front foot. Which was a good call, I think, by Trevor, and is something that, as you guys know, I've been after about Wallner for a while now. I think he shuts himself off, and his foot gets down at inconsistent times, and so the now short answer to a long rambling first part of the answer is. You see what that means, 20 home runs and 35 RBIs, is that he's got great power potential, great power talent, And the inconsistency means he's going to catch up to a fastball, or he's going to get a hanging breaking ball, and he's so strong he's going to hit it for a home run. But when, it consistently, I mean, you're hitting 215 or whatever it is, it means that you're not, your mechanics are not allowing that talent to come out. So I think that's the answer to what does that mean. And I just think that's got to change. I don't think he needs he's so strong. He doesn't need all that movement.
That's the thing. If he shortened up a little bit and calmed down the lower body, he would still hit home runs. The ball might not go as far over the fence, but you don't need the ball to go farther over the fence.
It would go as far. He's got tremendous bat speed, and it's just his lower body for me is just working against him so much. I even mentioned something to him. Again, I should never do this. It's not my place. But he and I were talking last year, early in the year, and he said he told me he had been working on, striding, straight ahead. When I asked him, I said, but it looks, because he went through a streak where it was looking better. And he said, yeah, I've been working on that. And I said, you know what I did one time, and I've seen other guys do this. It wasn't my idea. It was actually suggested to me one time by Lou Piniella. And I said, I would raise my front toe. I'd be on my front toe as I got back into launch position, and getting my foot down. My foot never left. I would he said, Lou suggested to me, why don't you just slide your front toe forward, and then then all you have to do is set your heel down when you think it's time, right? As you're striding into the pitch, it's not a big stomp down there. At different areas in the box, it's just you're sliding it, parallel line of flight. You just drop your heel and fire. And I really liked it. It helped me with breaking balls, especially because I wasn't just so far out in front if my timing was off. And I did that for some time, and I really liked it. And I mentioned that to him. But of course, I mean, I'm not the hitting coach. I'm just some old guy that claims he used to play. So I don't blame anybody for not listening to me. But that's the kind of thing that I would love to see him experiment with, or even just do in batting practice, so he gets the sense of not swinging around and stomping down on a closed front side like that so much. And but there you go.
Hey, Roy, you're not that old. There's still black and white video evidence that you played baseball.
Yeah, but not so much. It's kind of grainy. You can't see much.
Sketches mostly. Artist renderings. Hey, let's take care of a little more business. We will get to our Booze and Blues segment here in a little bit. We'll do the rest of the roster in upcoming shows when we don't have actual Twins news to talk about. Here's Talk North star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
Always honored to work with Minnesota Masonic Charities. I always hear about what great work they do in our state.
When people think of the Freemasons, they often think of secret handshakes and unusual hats, and of course, the pancake breakfast. Minnesota Masonic Charities would prefer that you think about the work that they do right here in our community. Places like the Masonic Cancer Center at the University of Minnesota or the Masonic Children's Hospital and the Masonic Home in Bloomington. They are just a few examples of the important work that the Freemasons support here in Minnesota. As part of the largest fraternal organization in the world, Masons have consistently answered the call when it comes to charitable needs. We look forward to learning so much more about their many programs here in the weeks to come.
All right. Well, Buxton's going to play center field. You know what? Let's make the last baseball topic for today because it's so easy to just beat this team up right now. Byron Buxton, more than 100 games, consecutive years, looks still going strong, still hitting very well. Anybody can get hurt at any time, but it looks like he's going to finish this year strong and playing a lot of games. At least they have that going for them. They still have their centerpiece athlete, LaVelle.
Yeah, they do. And, looking and watching him yesterday, he, had the home runs in his first 2 at bats. And that was in the same stadium where I think he had one of his best games as a pro, where I think he hit 3 home runs in a game. Yep. I think one was a grand slam, if I'm not mistaken. 3 homers, and one may have been a slam. It may not have been. And, it's just great to see him, see what he's become as a hitter too. Cause he's punishing mistakes. It doesn't look like he's fooled too much. It was too bad late in the game with 2 men on when he chased the ball down and away for strike 3. That was unfortunate, but you're nitpicking off a guy who's been one of the more productive center fielders in baseball this year. But hopefully puts him in the conversation for Silver Slugger. Is that left, center, right, or is that just 3 outfielders to get the Silver Slugger? I can't remember right now, but he's as fast as ever. The arm is great, and he's taken on a leadership role on the team. After the upheaval at the trade deadline, it was him and help Christian Vasquez arranging a team meeting at a restaurant. Just to kind of get the band together and get everybody rowing in the same motion. So he's at that point in his career. He's at the point where the talent and the experience is coming together, and the next couple of years should be fun to watch him play, especially if he's going to be healthy. So, no, we don't have to worry about a center fielder. Guys like, Outman or Roten or whatever will be backup guys, when Buxton needs a break. But, he's the man. Right now, he's the face of the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a joy to watch him, hasn't it? A healthy Byron Buxton just about the entire year. And it's what we wish for, what we've been wishing for every year for the last 5 and or so. And to see him go out there, be healthy, and just be him, it's been a joy to watch.
Yes, and hopefully we can see him in a pennant race again here soon. All right, we'll get to the rest of the roster in upcoming shows. We'll continue to update you on any news there is. It'll be interesting to see who they call up in September. Let's get to our Booze and Blues segment. LaVelle, you had something you wanted to talk about today.
Oh, yeah. I looked at these bottles at liquor stores, and I just haven't touched them. I know people have talked about it, and I have not gone out and purchased it, but I was at a buddy's house a few days ago, and he had some Whistle Pig, and he had the Whistle Pig 12-year rye, which I had never had. And so, we tasted it, and it was fantastic. It went in really smooth, and it was full of flavor. And, sometimes with some bourbons, they come in violet and go out smooth. Sometimes they come in smooth, go down violently. This one was smooth at the beginning and pretty mild to medium at the end. And I really enjoyed it. So I started, looking up, information about it. I can't pronounce these names. I'm not going to say it, but it was finished in 3 different casks. It's not cheap. It's about $110 a bottle, but it was really good. I mean, if you've got the scratch for it, I would recommend trying the Whistle Pig 12-year rye, because I really enjoyed it. So, it's smooth. You can taste the fruity character of it. It's easy on the palate, man. So I would recommend Whistle Pig 12. Roy may have had it.
I have not, but I'm going to run out and get some. I've got a couple of get-togethers that with some guys coming up, and I've got a fair amount of bourbon on the shelf. I do like rye when it's as you described. So I'm going to go out and get some. Thank you.
The power of a LaVelle Neal third endorsement. Take note. Everyone take note. I will just offer, as we kind of go through our most underrated bands in history. Well, actually, you know what? We'll leave this Whistle Pig. We'll carry the segment for this week. Next week, we can do booze, we can do blues, we can do most underrated bands in history. We'll let LaVelle carry the day for today. Right now, let's get a final thought from everybody. Once again, this is TalkNorth.com. This is Chin Music, our baseball show. Best way to listen, subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We're starting to produce some of our shows at the network on YouTube. You can find them there. Remember, we have the best lineup in town. Mark Rosen, Don Mitchell, Randy Shaver, our new fantasy football show, Randy Shaver on high school football, Russo on hockey, Krasinski on basketball, LaVelle and Roy on baseball, 3 football shows, including Jeff Diamond, the former Vikings general manager. Check it all out, plus our outdoor content through Ron Scherer Productions. We appreciate you listening. All right, LaVelle, final thought on anything you like.
Well, last homestand, I was walking into the clubhouse and Bailey Ober was getting ready to throw in the bullpen. And I asked him, I said, this is after he had to take some time off with the hip thing that he tried to pitch with early in the year. And I asked him, so where are you at with your mechanics? He's like, it's still a work in progress. He's still trying to work through some things. So then I was alarmed to read the game story from Toronto the other day, in which he did not throw a single pitch over 90 miles an hour. And so I think it's time to shut Bailey Ober down for the rest of the year because he's working through some issues with his mechanics. Or at least I would restrict him. I would maybe pitch him once a week and just let him work in the bullpen a couple of times and try to get sorted out and go into the next year on a high note. Maybe a shutdown it may be a little too drastic, but when you're not hitting 90, when you're used to, throwing 93 and once in a while touching 94, that's a concern to me, that his mechanics are out of whack. And if you're out of whack mechanically, that could lead to other injuries. So I'm a little concerned about, what Bailey's doing right now on the mound. And I would advocate him at least going off to the side for a little bit, if not shutting down for the rest of the season.
What do you got, Roy?
Well, when you have seasons like this one, we've documented how a mild term disgruntled the fan base is. I would just encourage everybody that there's a great potential off season waiting for all the hot stove league and fantasy baseball kinds of guys that think they want to be general managers and all that kind of stuff. Here's an opportunity to have some fun and think about it. I think you watch this you watch Buxton and Keishel in particular the rest of the year. You pull for Brooks Lee. And then you go into the off season and see what they can develop. It's still Major League Baseball. It's going to get better. Don't give up the ship. I mean, it's still worth watching. All the great talent that is coming in here to play against the Twins, as well as some young guys with the Twins that make it worth it to me too.
Good stuff, Roy. Thank you, LaVelle. We appreciate it. Talk to you next week. And listen, to reiterate what Roy is saying, everybody was disappointed by the summer. Everybody's really disappointed by the collapse last summer. No excuses and none should be made. They collapsed last year. They collapsed this year. The young players weren't good enough. It would have been nice if the Poll had spent more money. They're probably not going to. So this is the reality we're in. Doesn't mean baseball isn't worth watching. Doesn't mean they can't figure out a way to bounce back at some point. And the process of them trying to do so will be interesting, and we'll be here to update you on it. So thanks for listening to Chin Music, and we will talk to you next week.